Good afternoon, everyone. It is Rod with Power Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth. We're going to get started with today's live stream, and it's going to be a public one today, and going to do an important market update, and then going to dive into some ticker requests. So stay tuned. We'll get started here in about 60 seconds. I see we have some people joining us, and welcome. Going to get started with today's live stream in about 30 seconds, so just sit tight. Welcome, everybody. It's Rod with Power Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth. Today is Tuesday. It's May 10th. Going to get started with today's public live stream. Going to do a market update. It's an important one today. And before we get to it, we'll do some ticker requests at the end as well. But before we get to it, make sure to smash the like. It helps support me in the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. And if you're new here, you can subscribe. And if you tick the bell, you'll be notified anytime that I do go live in the future. All right, taking a look at the market. Actually, before I look at the actual charts, I want to bring up something that's extremely important and very concerning. This happened back in the dot-com days, right before the bubble burst. They did a stock split to Amazon, and Amazon's going to be doing another 20-for-1 stock split, and it's estimated that and predicted that Tesla may do a 10-for-1. What does that mean? Well, in my opinion, that happened right before the dot-com crash, and this is a little concerning because if Amazon's going to do a 20-for-1 and it's going to be scheduled on June 6th, what have I been saying for the last several months? Sell in May and go away. Sell in May, it doesn't mean that all the selling happens this month. It just means that it starts to sell, and then we have another bounce, and then it sells again, and then another bounce, and it sells again, and then we usually see the bear market and then the huge crash, right? So if that's the case, and remember that chart I showed on SPY with the dot-com fractal, and remember that it takes about 4 to 6 months for whales to get in and out of positions and flip net long to net short. Well, it took 6 months back in the dot-com days from the peak to roll over. So that Warren Buffett said that himself. It takes about 4 to 6 months to get in and out, and it took 6 months before we really started to crash. How many months are we now from the all-time high? 1, 2, 3, 4. So does that mean we're going to bounce for the next month or two? That sure makes sense leading into the stock split of Amazon for a 20-to-1, right? But no retail investor is going to be able to really buy. Like the average retail investor can't buy at $2,100 a share. That's like almost $3,000 Canadian, right? But after the 20-for-1 stock split, it's going to be like $100. So they're going to be able to pawn that off, just like they did back in the dot-com days when they split Amazon. Now they're doing a 20-for-1, and they're going to be doing it to Tesla. And look where this dot-com fractal. I took this bust fractal here, and I put it over here on today's everything bubble. And you can see here that it lines up perfectly. 4 to 6 months is how long it takes to get in and out positions. We're starting to see the sell-off in May, sell in May and go away, but we need another bounce so that those market makers can sell again, right? Now they're buying again, and then they're going to relief rally, and then they're going to sell off even more, and then into June and July is where we see the selling really pick up. And like I said, scheduled for June 6th. Does this not line up perfectly? Like, have we not cracked the code of what these market makers are trying to do? Because I'm fairly confident at this point. Nothing's a guarantee, but 95% sure this is the game that they're playing. And then they're looking for Tesla to do a 10-to-1, they say in this article, potentially at some point before the end of 2022. We also know that Australia is launching the first spot Bitcoin ETF to launch later this week. What does that mean? That means that they're going to be offering in their traditional stock accounts, just like Canada has right now, you're going to be able to buy Bitcoin in your regular stock account through an ETF, just like you could buy the S&P 500. So what does this mean? mean? This means that right at the top of and this could even lead to the US approving a spot Bitcoin ETF. We know they already approved 2 futures ETFs for Bitcoin. This is writing on the wall. It's game theory playing out. Canada, now Australia, and I think US is coming behind. And what better way to pawn it off on retail than to do a 20-for-1 stock split on Amazon, a 10-to-1 for Tesla. Everybody will be able to buy again. And then we'll put Bitcoin in everybody's stock trading account so that retail can buy the top there. And then they'll completely crash the market, right? Just like they did in the dot-com days when they crashed Amazon 95% after they did the stock split and the market topped. I don't think Amazon's going to drop 95% this time around, but there's a good chance that it could drop 60%, 70%, right? So we have to be aware of that. And also, I did a warning. I sent out a warning. Look at how long ago this was. This was back in 1 month ago. I said, huge warning signs. Crypto, S&P 500, major warning signs signs flashing, top close. Sell in May and go away. That was 1 month ago. So you had a 1 month heads up that this was going to happen. And then also I did this update here. SPY lost 410 support like I said it would. I expected a back test of 400 and then a possible flush below to test EMA 26. Anyway, you can go check out that full thing on your own time. But again, I gave a month heads up and then another week heads up that we were potentially going to see a flush of 400. I actually switched bullish yesterday. I covered some of my short positions on the S&P 500 and I actually went long on some accounts. And I'm looking for a relief rally and a hold of EMA 26, and so far it is holding. First time testing EMA 26 since the March 2020 lows, and first time heading to weekly oversold since March 2020 lows. So I think there's going to be a heavy appetite for buying here at this range, and then I think we're going to see a relief rally, something to the tune of this, where we see a weekly lower high, and then we come back down, and then we roll. That's what I'm looking for until I'm not. I'll continue to update everybody on a regular basis. Taking a look at the crypto space here at the moment. We are in 15-minute uptrends once again, and Ethereum looks quite strong at the moment comparatively to the rest of the market. Something I wanted to mention as well real quick, I'm going to be doing a giveaway on Saturday, so I'll be doing a live stream. All you have to do is join the live stream. I'll do a schedule as well, so you'll know 2 hours before I go live, thereabout, and then as long as you're on that live stream and comment, I'll do 2 random comment pickers, and you'll win. I'm going to be giving away 2 annual gold memberships valued at $150 each, so $300 total, and you'll have access to the POW Group community free of charge for 1 year. And good luck to everybody who enters that. So like I said, just comment on the video once the live stream goes. It'll be about a 10-minute live stream. After about 10 minutes, I'll pick 2 random comments for the winners. Taking a look at Bitcoin, actually, so we did bounce quite a bit there off the low, and obviously the Terra Luna depegging of their stablecoin really hurt the market as well, created a lot of fear and uncertainty. But again, when we start to see these extreme flushes and this extreme volatility to the downside, it usually results in a mirroring effect, right? It usually results in an aggressive move to the upside. So I'm of the thinking that the bottom is in, temporary bottom is in for now. We held key support, which again, I understand why people say we're in a bear market. We have a head and shoulders forming. We're, technically confirming a monthly downtrend with a lower high and lower low, but I don't think they're going to make it this easy, right? And the main thing to remember here is we're holding the initial lows here from the summer, right, of last year. So if we're holding the original lows from monthly consolidation from the all-time highs, how in ever-loving hell can we be in a bear market? This doesn't make any sense. If we lost 28.8K, then yes, we're in a bear market. So for people saying that we were in a bear market here or here, they're just making stuff up, okay? And then they could be proven right if we lose 28K, and then of course they're all going to be saying, everybody and their dog who called bear market is going to be saying, oh, see, I told you so. But technically they weren't right until we lose 28K. They could be right, but right now they're just completely making stuff up, and they're just biased, and they don't really have it. They don't have any concept of technical analysis 101. This is called higher lows and higher highs. How in the ever-loving hell are we in a bear market? Until we lose 28.8, the original low of the consolidation, we're holding this higher low pattern, right? So this could just be one brutal bear trap before we see the final leg up. I don't think we're going to go to new all-time highs. I think we could see about a 60K Bitcoin, but if they approve a Bitcoin ETF in the US, we could hit 80K, right? We could potentially go up to our 4.618 fib extension and hit, that's at 78,000. So we could potentially go to 78,000 if they approve a spot ETF. And again, then they'll pawn it off on every retail investor, right? Everybody will be able to buy it. So many people don't want to buy it right now because they don't want to go through the hassle of opening a crypto account. They don't like it because they don't want to manage it themselves, and they're kind of sketched out by it. And also, if it's in their stock account, it's going to be federally insured, right? It's going to be FDIC insured. It's going to be insured underneath, Canadian law and bank laws. So if it did go belly up, or somebody hacked the account, then it's pretty much impenetrable, right? It's a it's a enterprise level bank, right? So, but yeah, I don't think we're in a bear market until we lose 28K. And look where we've bounced from. We've bounced off 29,735, and the low is at 28,800. So far we're holding the higher low structure. This is showing strength, not weakness, in my opinion, because of how bearish we are in the market, right? Some names, look at Shopify. Like, I never want to hear anybody ever complain about crypto volatility or marijuana volatility ever again. Because let's just take a look, casing point here at Shopify. In 6 months, it's down over 82%, almost 85% down in 6 months. So please never ever talk to me again about how brutal the volatility is in MJ and crypto, because all stocks are risky. I understand crypto is the riskiest, followed by MJ. But these tech stocks, I said, stay the heck away from tech since months ago, right? When we knew that SPY was at its 4.618 extension. So again, if SPY's already reached its 4.618 extension, does that mean that we could potentially see the same for Bitcoin? It's possible. So does that mean the spot ETF? I think that could take us there. That would also explode the prices in the broader market as well, because that means people would be able to buy it in the regular stock account. They would get euphoric, and we'd likely see a huge move to the upside on both fronts, right? But again, Shopify absolutely wrecked. So again, never want to hear anybody complain about MJ again, because I know a lot of, but at least now I have the perfect response for anybody who says, I can't believe how much MJ is down. Then I just send them this chart and say, Shopify's down almost 85% in 6 months. Please stop complaining about MJ. But I'm going to get to some ticker requests here soon. So if anybody has any ticker requests, please put them in the chat there now. Just make sure to put them with the exchange as well. I did do a video on VFF earlier today as well. Absolutely wrecked today. Annihilated, right? Down over 25%, I think it was at one point. So they missed on earnings revenue and estimates, EPS as well. And they had some, I think it was 12th quarter positive adjusted EBITDA. But again, they had MJ sales decline, and they had earnings estimates miss, and they're just catching up to the rest of the sector. Now down about 85% from February 2021 highs. Let's take a look at some of our individual tickers. Oh, let's take a look at SPY. So SPY losing 400 again, but again, holding monthly EMA 26, which is the most important factor. And then taking a look at DXY. Remember, we still have a daily bull flag target on DXY of 106. It's entirely possible that we get there. It's entirely possible that we don't. I think it's about a 50-50 chance, but just keep monitoring this, right? If we lose 102 on the dollar, that's likely going to mean it's going to enter quite a bit of a retracement, and that's likely good for stocks. So watch 102 support. If we lose that, that's good for crypto and stocks. Until then, we're just looking for a top around 106, which is the target of the daily bull flag. So that is the key. That's a very important chart to be watching. Oil down almost 3% today. Commodities. Silver again getting whacked harder than gold because it's more of a risk asset. But QQQ, notable strength at the moment. And we need QQQ to bounce, right? Because QQQ, tech sector, and crypto has been leading the market higher ever since March 2020 lows. So, and I think we could easily bounce pretty extensively here on the tech sector. But we know we need to change the daily trend, and it's likely just going to result in an equilibrium where we have a lower high and a higher low, and we're tightening range. And if I had to guess, I think it's going to break bullish because of how much volatility we've seen to the downside. I think we're going to see a huge bounce on the weekly and match that volatility to the upside. So individual tickers here on the bull list, we got OPK, VERY, and FTNT. Fortinet, notable strength today. This is cybersecurity. Daily bounce underway. On the bear list, we've got WNRS, NEXE, and Coin. Losing $80. Man, this thing, if you're looking for a long-term pickup, look at the RSI here, sitting almost in the teens at 21. Heavily oversold. This thing IPO'd it opened at $381. It's sitting at $73. If we just go back up to the all-time high there, that's about almost a 5x move. So again, don't catch a falling knife, but if you're looking for long-term entries, this is a great opportunity to start dollar cost averaging and take some positions. Maybe you buy some here, maybe you buy some around $50 if we get there. Maybe you're waiting for a daily uptrend or a weekly uptrend to confirm again before then entering if you're a little bit more conservative. But again, not financial advice, not telling you to buy, sell, or hold. This is for entertainment purposes only. But lots of great deals out there today. VFF was another great opportunity, down 25%. Look at the bounce from the low of the day there. Currently up about 20% off the low of the day. I mean, the RSI was just getting crushed, right? Huge volatility, though, for the range on the day today is over 30%. And again, if people, and this is the fundamental poster child of the Canadian industry, right? And this is why I say fundamentals do not matter. I just did a video on why fundamentals do not matter in the MJ space yet. They will once the market matures, but right now the market moves in tandem. So we are now down over 86% on VFF from February 2021 highs. CGC down over 91%. ACB, Aurora, down almost 90%. Then we've got all of our other names, right? We got Tilray, down from $67 all the way down to $4, losing over 93%. Hexo lost over 97%. Par for the course, guys. Fundamentals do not matter yet, and they matter way less to the upside. When we're so bearish right now, nothing matters, right? VFF, PWR, High Tide leading the decline today. Somebody commented on one of my videos saying this is a garbage stock, High Tide. Again, great fundamentals, they do not matter because it's tracking the rest of the sector. How much are we down from February 2021 highs? Over 80%. Go figure, right? Because it's the whole sector. Even the U.S., right? The poster childs of the U.S., like the Trulies and the Curaleafs and the GTIIs and the Crescos and the Veranos, right? All getting smoked, no pun intended. Pun intended. MSOS, look at how brutal that is. Absolutely brutal. Down 76% from February 2021 all-time highs on an ETF, right? Second most volatile asset class on the planet next to crypto. GTII, 70% down. Trulieve, I think it was 75%, 76. Again, par for the course. Look at CL, Cresco, almost 80%. Par for the course, guys. The good thing about this is, though, is everything's kind of aligning to the same amount of decline. It's the common themes around 80 to 90%. And the fact that all of our names are getting there is a positive sign. And the fact that we're seeing huge volatility in names like VFF today on not even that bad of earnings. They didn't even really miss that bad. Like, I guess their EPS did. But, you know, and SPY was weak this morning as well. But this was way over-exaggerated, in my opinion. Let me know in the comments below if you agree with me. But this is a good sign because we're starting to see all of our names get to that 80 to 90% threshold of retracement. And the fact that we're seeing this huge, this is what we want to see, right? We want to see huge volatility. We want to see extreme beat up, oversold RSI levels. And we want to see hard and fast moves to the downside. That's usually indicative of a bottom being set and volume. Look at the volume. Huge volume. And we still got 28 minutes left in the day. I'll stay on right to the end with you guys as well because this is an important update. And again, don't lose sight of the fact that these stock splits are coming up right around the same time where I've been calling for tops on the S&P 500, which is leading into June. It says right here, we could peak in May and June, between the end of May and the middle of June. And then we roll over, we start the descent, and then into July and August is where we really get ugly. And then we could enter a 2 to 3 year bear market. I think it's going to be more like 2.5 at the most. But by the end of this, it's saying that we could be there into February 2024 if we see anything like the .com days. But I think it's going to be worse because we've been in a bull market since 2008, and it's the everything bubble. It's not just the tech bubble. If we look at housing prices, if we look at all of the tech sector and all the individual stocks and the crypto, everything is just raging euphoric all-time highs, right? And generally when we have that long sustained move to the upside, it's just like the bottom. The longer the base, the higher in space. But the higher in space, the bigger the nosedive, right? The more and again, SPY up. Usually people are happy with an 8 to 10% return on the S&P 500 in a year. We're up 120% in 672 days in a couple years. That is completely unheard of. So what does that usually mean? We usually get met with the same type of move, and we have the raging euphoric, and then we have the raging despair, right? And I really hope people are starting to develop plans. Maybe I've got 50% of my net worth in cash. I also did a breakdown of my portfolio breakdown. Check that video out. I'm just going to bring it up, guys, because this is important. Like, people don't understand the severity of what's really going to be coming over the next couple of years, in my opinion. And again, this isn't me coming on here to spread fear. I'm still long some positions, but I'm being very, very selective with my position. So I have a hedge game plan here, what we can do to protect ourselves in the event of a bear market. And then I give my portfolio breakdown as well in another video just here, my current portfolio breakdown. And check those out. It's very important. And hedge game plan. Develop a plan. Do not be a deer getting caught in the headlights, because now's not the time to be complacent in the markets. But I think that we're due for another short-term rally into June, end of May, June. And then we're going to see the stock split with Amazon, and then we're going to see heavy selling and bear market confirm into July and August, into the fall. And I think it's going to be, I think a lot of people are going to be humbled even more so, right? Shopify down almost 85% in 6 months, but this is just the tip of the iceberg. But again, Shopify down that much, I think we're due for a bounce soon. Taking a look at ticker requests here in about 2 seconds. NBEV, who's this here? Columbia Care, TAT, and leading the decline. Some green today. BAM, FIT, KHRN. Love and Oxley were doing well today. Those are another one of my holdings as well. Cron had earnings today as well. Now that's something you don't see every day, right? Cron up 13%, BFF down 25%. And Cron earnings weren't even that great either. They missed on revenue and a slight beat on EPS, but it was still negative EPS. So still not making any money from operations. So I don't know what, I didn't actually dive into it. I really don't care about earnings right now, to be honest, until we see uptrends on the weekly time frame on HMMJ, the ETF, and MSOS, the ETF. All these earnings are just noise. I really don't care. It doesn't make any sense to care because the whole sector's bearish, right? We need the whole sector to reverse. Keston, welcome. Thanks for joining the live stream. Mirza, VFF. Yeah, so VFF, nice bounce there off the low of the day. Like I said, up about 20% off the low. And we did get close to our daily support here. We had a higher low here at 286, it looks like. And we got as low as 281. So that was a great bottom fish opportunity, in my opinion. Like I said, the RSI would have been in the teens, like low teens on the daily time frame. So if you're looking at playing an oversold bounce, today would have been a nice entry there off of that support. And that was our weekly support as well at 286. So just draw that horizontal line for you. So look how basically how perfect that was, right? So nice bottom fishing opportunity. We were also heavily weekly oversold at that point. But again, VFF is just another example of a monthly downtrend playing out, joining the rest of the MJ space. And that looks like we had a bear flag here as well. I guess you could technically, yeah, it's not really a very clear bear flag. Might have been more of a flag on the weekly time frame. So we broke the weekly downtrend here with the break of the lower high pattern, and then it was just a complete bear trap. Again, look how much we've been rejecting from EMA 26, that white line, as resistance. Ever since we lost it, it acted as, so when you lose, so when you're going and you're crossing through these moving averages, and then you come back and you hold them and you back test them and you hold them and then you keep going, that means that you're going to see a reversal and usually more upside as we're turning that into previous resistance into new support, classical technical analysis. And you can see here we were riding it as support, and then as soon as we came out and we rejected, we lost it, and then we had a bear cross, the short term coming down through the longer term. And then here is, once you cross downwards, that's where you see the momentum shift to the bears, right? Here it was shifting to the bulls, here it was shifting to the bears. And then here was a perfect example of when to bail, right? Weekly downtrend confirmed, and then we kiss a death, reject, and then you could have said a simple statement, exit here at $11. When we start to close back above EMA 26, I'll re-enter. You would have been able to not have, and then right here, we failed to do it. We didn't close above. On the weekly candle, we tried here, and then we right back down under EMA 12, another huge red flag. Where did we top out this bounce? Right at EMA 26. Did we close over it? No. So you could have exited 11, re-entered down here at $2, right? And you still wouldn't have crossed, right? We still are a long ways away from crossing above that EMA 26. So again, just knowing how to, and all this stuff is super, there's a lot to learn, right? Like that's why having a community and joining a community is just so much easier, right? If you got like hundreds of people there helping you and have all this experience, like I wouldn't want to be doing this all by myself. You're at a total disadvantage, right? I mean, you got public groups and stuff, but it's just not the same, in my opinion, a lot of trolls on there and stuff like that. And yeah, just a lot of emotional people. I honestly been taking a break from the socials quite a bit. If you don't see me posting a lot on there, that's why. It's just because I've been focusing more on my sophisticated and intelligent group of private members. Just because, yeah, it's rough out there, and yeah, I'm not seeing that many trolls as we were a few months ago, because now everybody's getting humbled, right? Especially in the MJ. All the MSO maximalists were saying, you know, like, ha, 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 LPs suck, right? And then now they're down 80%. They're like, oh, this is what it feels like to see the market all move together, because that's how it works. Fundamentals do not matter yet. But yeah, VFF, barely any daily resistance, right, up until $6.55. So what a great opportunity. Bottom fish off that weekly support. Great opportunity on weekly oversold, likely heading back up for a daily lower high, in my opinion. That's all we're going to expect based on the size of the gap here that we have, right? We could bounce from the lows there. We could go all the way up. What's going on here? About 122% of upside, just looking for a daily lower high. That's wild. So that was a great entry today off that bottom fish, like I said, off that weekly time frame. If you haven't entered yet, you're still looking for entries. You could wait for maybe hourly consolidation. We're close. Look at that nasty wick on the upside there too. Huge wick to the downside on the daily, and then huge wick on here on the hourly. So maybe you're waiting for hourly consolidation. Maybe look to around $3 entry if you're looking at that. But again, not financial advice. Hexo, yeah, getting slammed again today. Nothing new. But daily RSI was in the teens. Likely due for a bounce soon. Also keep in mind that they said on the 28th that they were going to be releasing the new Fortune 200 partner, Molson Coors caliber, within the next couple of weeks. Or no, they said within weeks. So that would be 1, 2, so we will be 2 weeks on Thursday. So realistically speaking, we could see the CPG partner news anytime between now and the end of May. Maybe into June. Maybe they're, and you got to think too, they might be kind of waiting. They waited this long. Maybe they're waiting for SPY to start to bounce. So one thing I'll want to see is we start to see SPY start to bounce. Maybe we can see maybe that increases the odds that we could see the CPG news come out as well. Because in my opinion, if they waited this long, why not time it a little bit with the broader market bounce, right? If we're expecting a pretty big bounce on the weekly time frame, likely up to around somewhere around that 450 area, I could see. Even the EMAs are up there at 427 and 437. So again, huge bounce. Maybe we even get raging euphoric again. Maybe they approve a spot Bitcoin ETF in the US, going to completely send the markets flying, and then we get the news from Hexo. But a good thing about this is SPY is likely due for a bounce here on the weekly anytime between now and the next couple of weeks as well. So that's likely going to coincide with that CPG news, in my opinion. But yep, not much really to look at Hexo. Now we lost $30 or 30 cents. Now we're just looking at psychological support. So now it's 25 cents USD psychological. But again, out of all this bearish activity, look at Hexo weekly. We're still bullish on the MACD, not even close to crossing bearish. That's crazy, right? Because if we bring up like VFF, look how bearish we are already on that. We've already crossed. What else? Tilray. Tilray hasn't crossed yet, but MSOS. Very, very bearish on the MACD, right? So it looks like the whales and market makers are still selling. But Hexo, we've crossed bullish back here in November, and we've been bullish ever since. We haven't crossed bearish yet after all of this. So we have some hidden MACD bullish divergence, and we have some bullish weekly divergence as well. We're trending a little bit higher lows and higher highs here on the weekly, where the price is just getting blasted to the downside with lower highs and lower lows. So we've got a couple of different hidden bullish divergence to be watching. But again, that MACD is very, very peculiar, right? We haven't, after all of this downside, it looks like we have heavy, and this usually is indicative of heavy market maker accumulation and just large financial institutions. Because if most retail is panicking here, who the hell would be buying, right? Other than like the JP Morgans, the Morgan Stanleys, and the Goldman Sachs of the world, right? Sean, how you doing, man? And thanks for your ticket request, Mirza. Thanks for joining the stream. Sean, when do you expect the Hexo partner announced this month? Oh, perfect. I think I just mentioned it. Also, when is that Tilray deal supposed to close? Thanks, man. Appreciate your videos. Helps us hold through this. You bet. So again, I'm not like most people. I don't go on and talk about MJ just when it's cool and when it's up, because a lot of people don't want to risk their YouTube reputation and their subscribers by talking about something when it's down. I don't roll that way. I tell the truth, and I support you in a bear market and a bull market. I'll be here forever, right? I'm going to be here pretty much for the rest of my life, and I'll be supporting everybody on my channel. And it's quite often in a bear market is when people need the most help, right? And that's why that was one of the reasons why I was so motivated to start this channel, is because I would look at so many other YouTubers that would only come out of the woodworks and talk about MJ whenever it was cool and hip and blasting to the upside, but when in the downside they'd go rogue, and that's just not good in my opinion. Like, you got to be there the whole time, right? You can't jump on the train and then jump off the train just because you don't want to look bad, right? Again, I tell the truth, and I'm here to support you guys through the thick and the thin, right? But hopefully, let me know, Sean, in the comments if that answered your question, because I kind of went on that topic whenever Mirza requested Hexo. Let me know if that answered your question, if you needed me to elaborate. But Tilray deal is supposed to close in May. But one thing, and this never wants to load whenever I'm on a live stream, so we'll try it again here today. But if we go to investors, CDR filing, then we go to their company profile. Oh yeah, it loaded today. So there was the notice of the meeting, right? So auditor's consent and news release. What's this, May 3rd? Where did it come out here? Notice of meeting. And then you just enter this code. So yeah, it says here, date fixed for the meeting, June 14th. So if it's June 14th, and we know that Hexo shareholders still have to approve it, the cutoff date was, record date for voting was May 4th, so 5 days ago. And it says here the meeting is scheduled for June 14th. So deal could close at some point in June by the looks of it. And this lines up for a pretty big bounce, in my opinion, on MJ, Hexo, Tilray, potentially. If we know the market's going to rally maybe into end of May and into June, and then top set into that is what the charts are saying. Again, not guaranteed, but I'll let you guys know. But that's what it's looking like. And if we see June 14th for Hexo, that means that we could see the deal finalized. That's going to be very bullish. Hexo will have $282 million in cash, and their market cap is less than $190 million, which is just absolutely insane. They'll have more cash than their market cap. And CPG partner release, broader market tailwinds from that bouncing. So again, I think the Tilray deal is likely. They said they were going to close in May, but now it's looking like it potentially could be June based on that meeting. So again, we'll want to see. Yeah, we'll just have to be patient. Hopefully that answers. Yes, sir. Thank you. Perfect. Thanks, Sean. Vincent, AYR Wellness. Let's take a look. Yeah, it looks like they were down quite a bit today when I did the winners and losers. Oh, no, maybe not. No, they were up today, yeah. Again, weekly oversold. We would have got close to the teens there. But again, another name that I think is a great long-term hold. And again, everybody making fun of Hexo and Tilray and everything, and now AYR Wellness. Like, look at that. From February 2021, almost 90%. We're down 87%, all-time low there at 501, and we hit a low of 602. So you don't see any of the MSO gang maximalists floating about anymore. And humbled by Mr. Market, right? That's why you need to just shut your mouth if you have nothing good to say. Like, no offense, but I'm just sick of these trolls and people who are playing on other people's emotions and making fun of them. Like, we're all on the same team here. We all want each other to do well, and if MJ does well in the U.S., that's great for Canada as well. If Canadian MJ does well, that's good for the U.S. It's good for all MJ. We need to drop the tribalism, and hopefully this puts an end to that. I get very passionate about this because there's no place for it. Like, people need to build each other up. We're on the same team. Cut it out. Like, it's time to grow up. And this is just a classic example of this, right? Like, how many people have just got absolutely destroyed by AYR and the USMJ because they were told by the media and all the MSO gang maximalists that LPs are garbage and move all your money into LPs. And now look what happened. I told you it was going to happen. The market moves together, and bring up any freaking chart, right? Any chart on the monthly time frame. It's all bad. It's all extremely, extremely bad. Like CGC. So now I really do hope that people smarten up. Like, just, there's no place for tribalism and making fun of other people and bashing other companies. If we want the whole sector to do well, it has to do well together. Just like when Apple got bailed out by Microsoft from bankruptcy in 1997. It's not good for the industry if the leaders are going bankrupt. It's going to scare away investors, and it's going to stifle innovation. It's going to make regulators less inclined to adopt it. Again, if you see anybody spreading tribalism, just tell them to cut it out. We're all on the same team. Renee, how you doing? Thanks for joining. But yeah, hopefully, again, like, great opportunities for pretty much all of these names, right? But again, we have barely any resistance on the daily time frame. Next resistance on AYR is up at 981. We hit a low of 602, so we had clear support at $5, and we're down. Look at the RSI here on the daily, down in the 12s. Would have been down around 10. So great opportunity on AYR. Not financial advice. Barely any, weekly resistance up until $17. 200% move. Great time to be loading up, folks. Could go a little bit lower, but man, that's opportunity. I'm 81% down on wheat stock, but I think it just followed all the other. Yeah, absolutely, right? It's par for the course. I could bring up all the charts in the world, and it's just the exact same, right? And all you need to do is watch these two charts. If you're in MJ, all you need to do is watch MSOS and HMMJ. Once we confirm weekly and monthly uptrends on these ETFs, then we can expect our individual tickers to sustain their gains and see a bull market, right? Got 8 minutes left in the day. SPY trying to close at yesterday's close at 398 rather. That's exactly where we closed yesterday. So still holding that monthly support. 2 days closing above it is looking good. It's what we want to see. Stop the bleeding. But yeah, MJ stocks all down, and like I said, the great sign is that most names, individual tickers in the MJ space now, both US and MJ, US MJ and Canadian MJ are all down relatively the same, around 80 to 90%. So I think we could see a reversal here pretty soon. And again, bodes well for the MJ space that crypto and tech look to be topping out. Ulis, thanks for joining the stream. Look at buying international property. Nicaragua jumped nicely over the last few months. ECI developments. Yeah, I think you can buy like houses there for Bitcoin too. And yeah, I know a lot of people moving there. Edmonton, Alberta is really good for property and real estate. I bought a condo downtown Edmonton for $70,000. Like, where in the world, in the the Western world and the developed countries would that happen? Like, that's just insane. And then there's no shortage of them either. There's like a ton of them still in the market for like anywhere from like 80 to 150,000, and they're pretty nice. Mirza, thank you, Rod. You're welcome. Entered today at 291 VFF. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, VFF's like a completely different beast altogether, right? Like, they've got other revenues, like they got their agriculture, just overall, agriculture and other kind of tomatoes and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of weird. And then they have their Pure Sun Farms, which is their MJ aspect. And then you got like Tilray, who's into distribution business and alcohol business, and then SNDL, who's heavily into retail and alcohol now. And it's just completely different business models from each other. And even Hexo, right? Hexo is like a products company, an MJ manufacturing products company, and that's all they do, right? But then that's why I'm not so sold on Tilray and Sundial either, is because like they're getting into alcohol. Alcohol is going to get smoked, right? No pun intended, from the legalization of MJ at a global scale, and then it's also going to hurt tobacco. So I don't know why they're getting into alcohol. I guess somebody in the Pow Group community brought up a good point, though, but they're getting into alcohol because that's kind of their gateway into, they can use those same brands to make cannabis-infused beverages once it's federally permissible in the U.S., and it also gives them a revenue stream until the U.S. legalizes. So I kind of understand the benefit there, but I'm just a little concerned of the long-term viability of that part of their business. And yeah, I own them, but just not a huge part of my portfolio. I listened to you about cash and building a position in cash for a couple months to have ammo when time comes. That's great. That makes me makes it worthwhile doing these videos if I can help at least one person, right? Thanks, Renee. That's great to know. And you can also hedge, right? You can buy SPXS, which is an ETF that trades like a stock on the NYSE, and you can make money when the market's going down, right? Look at this trending in an uptrend on the daily time frame. We're up on SPXS 52% in the last few weeks. So while the S&P 500 is going down, this is inverse 3x leverage. It's going up 3 times the amount. So you can short, and then with that profit shorting on the market as a hedge, you can take those profits and then roll them into beating down MJ, because what's likely going to happen to MJ if this is going up? Well, if the broader market and SPY is going down and this is going up, MJ is probably going to follow the broader market like it did today, right? So again, casing point, cash is great, but you can also short. You can use these 3x inverse leverages. If you're not experienced, I don't recommend it. And if you're looking for a long-term short, I don't recommend these either. They are very risky long-term holds because of the fact that they use options to get to that 3x leverage. So if you want to go a long-term short, you should just use regular short shares from your broker. VFF volume today, 4.5 million when the 3-month average volume is 655K, something going on there. Yeah, it's, like I said, heavily capitulating, and that's what we want to see is that nosedive and that extreme volatility in RSIs in the teens. That usually signifies that whales are buying, and that volume is what we want to see, right? That it's indicative of a bottom being set and likely going to see a matched move to the upside, an aggressive move to the upside. Meparatus. I want to see BTC Maxis tiers. Oh, it's going to be inevitable, right? I feel bad. Like, I don't own any more Bitcoin at the moment just because there's not enough risk to reward. The more reward is in the altcoins, in my opinion. And BTC just has a ton of downside risk. Like, even if it goes to 80K or 100K, like, what's that? Like 2 or 3X? Like, you're going to risk losing like 80%, 70% of your money to make 2 to 3X. I'd rather put way less money into some altcoins and see like 10 to 20X, maybe even more, and get way more return on way less risk, right? But yeah, Bitcoin, no one can tell us who the creator is. Like, that's just insane when you think about it. Like, I can't sleep at night owning something that we don't know who created it, right? And having that like laying over your head, hanging over our heads and over our shoulders the whole time. They could, make it seem like it was a terrorist group or some, maybe North Korea, or maybe it was a group of governments, and maybe we'll never know. But yeah, to me, I can't get past the fact that like Wall Street's pumping it, and all these financial institutions are getting in, and countries are adopting it, and yet they don't know who created it. That tells me they know exactly who created it, or they wouldn't risk, because it's called a thing called financial fiduciary responsibility. And imagine all the hedge funds in the countries, if we found out that this was created by some evil group of people and it went to zero, and the people who created it hold the most Bitcoin and they dump it all in the market, and then Bitcoin becomes illegal. All these financial institutions and companies that are offering it to their clients and buying it on their balance sheet, imagine what the board's going to say. And the investors are going to say, you're telling me you put all this money, or hard-earned shareholder capital money, into Bitcoin, and you didn't even know who created it? Right? Like, that's a big, big problem. And then regulation obviously going to be coming, and it's going to kill probably over 90% of altcoins. So that's why if you don't have cryptos that actually have utility, in my opinion, you're in for some, tears for sure. Thanks for joining, though, and thanks for your comments. I am loaded in Hexo with average now at 63 cents. Wow, that's awesome. Congrats. I feel very confident. Yeah, I am as well. They launched 13 new drinks. They launched new Reddies in Ontario, gelato and what's the sour? Ultra Sour. Ultra Sour is amazing. And they now have the King Packs in Lilac, Diesel, Cold Creek Kush, and Wappa. So you can now buy a full ounce of Reddies for $149, 70 joints for $149. And all three of those. And the Reddies Plus now as well, infused with distillate, 25%. Yeah, buddy. Sean, how is Hexo going to raise that $40 million they want to raise when the stock keeps going down? If SPY dumps and Hexo dumps more, are we in big trouble? Well, like I said, I think SPY is likely due for a bounce soon and at least a weekly lower high, so that's a good thing. We're holding monthly EMA 26, 2 daily closes above it. Where do we close? 399. That's great. That's 2 days in a row above monthly EMA 26 rather. So that's good. Hopefully we'll see a SPY bounce. And isn't it funny that they said they were going to release the CPG partner within a couple weeks? We're coming up on a couple weeks on Thursday. If SPY is due to bounce over the next week or two, that means that we could see the CPG partner news soon, and that would be huge tailwinds, and the rest of the MJ sector will likely spark. And if we see any kind of safe banking progress or any kind of narrative around that, which we have been, and pointing to more bills going through Congress. They talked about more GOPs getting involved, like senators approving it, so they can get to that 60 votes required to pass it into law. So things are going to get interesting over the next couple of weeks, I think. So that's how they're going to get the 40 million ATM, is they're going to probably see a bounce, in my opinion, in the broader market, get some tailwinds, release the CPG partner, hopefully see the whole MJ sector reverse. And it's looking like we could see the whole MJ sector reverse based on that VFF drop today, right? The fundamental poster child of the MJ industry that all the fundamental maximalists say is the best to own. Well, it just got crushed 25% in one day. And that's probably a good thing, because now we're likely going to see a matched move to the upside, in my opinion. So again, looking like next few weeks are going to get pretty interesting. But that's how I would expect they raise the 40 million, and the 40 million ATM will just pay off the debt to the lender of High Trail Capital or High Trail Investments until the Tilray deal closes later this month or June, and then that'll be enough for 2 months of the debt component. Which is around 20 million, I believe, per month, and then they'll just have that'll sustain themselves until they get the 282 million from Tilray deal closing. But let me know if that makes sense. This Tilray deal is super important. Yeah, it's like the most important thing in Hexo's history to date, right? But I'm pretty sure it's going to close because they raised that ATM to pay off the fees for the deal for Tilray. So. And they're all very friendly. Like, listen to that BNN article, and like you can just hear how excited. I mean, how would they not be excited? If Hexo goes up $1, Tilray makes $200 million. So think about that. If Hexo goes up $5, Tilray made $1 billion. And they're getting $20 million a year in interest. This is great for Tilray. Like, wow. See, Tilray is all about making money. They don't care how the hell they make it. They're into alcohol. They're into distribution. They're into MJ. They're into Manitoba Harvest and the hemp and all that stuff. Now they're into like buying stakes in companies like MedMen and Tilray. They want to be the crown jewel, the conglomerate. And and they said many times now that Hexo is a standalone company. They said it's important that Hexo remain independent. And he said maybe, and later on in the BNN article, he said maybe it could lead to us buying the company in the future in a merger. But they've said it 3 or 4 times now that it's going to be a standalone company. And look what happened to Microsoft and Apple. And the same thing happened when Apple was going bankrupt and Microsoft bailed them out. Apple remained independent, and now they're worth more market cap-wise than Microsoft. I think it's a very similar situation. Again, obviously not to the same scale and all that stuff. You're going to get one person who, you can't compare technology to MJ. It's actually, well, yeah, you can, because they're 2 highly growth sectors, and you have no idea what you're talking about. Get out of here with your trollism. Okay, how is Hex? Yeah, so I did that one. Isn't that 40 million for CPG partner too? No, not really. They didn't say that. It said for operational expenses and and Tilray deal fees. So I think that would mean the debt component, because the deal hasn't closed, right? So how are they going to pay that debt, right? They only got 14 million left in cash. They need that 40 million, which would put them at around 54 million. That'll get them by the 20 million each. That's 40 million for 2 months, and then that leftover 14 million will get them by and keep the lights on until the deal goes through. And then you never know, the CPG partner could inject cash as well as part of their deal, and then it's a royalty base, which we know is likely going to be the case. And then they say, okay, we'll lend you 200 million or 100 million until the royalties, and you pay it off with the royalties, and until it's paid off, then the royalties go to you, right? That's something that could happen as well. But again, if the CPG partner is coming out in a couple weeks, like within weeks, I highly doubt HEXO's going bankrupt. And if they just release 13 new drinks with trust, like it's not realistic, right? It doesn't make sense. Renee, I guess they need to sell more shares to meet the 40 million, Sean. No, like I said, it's, I don't think so. The 40 million ATM is just going to get them by to pay the debt. It's going to help pay their operational expenses and the Tilray expenses, right? Since price keeps going down, Sean, they don't want to raise when the stock is this low, I think. Yeah, exactly. And just go back. Remember how much slack and how much hate SSL got, Sebastian St. Louis, when he did a raise at $2.95, I think it was? I wonder if you should call, like a Power Group member said today, I wonder if SSL should call up Arviv and say, hey, how stupid does that raise look now, right? The whole MJ getting absolutely destroyed, and HEXO did a bunch of raise last year. So again, it seems like they almost knew it was coming, and they issued a poison pill with the debt, because what else would make sense? I think it was a poison pill. They still a defense strategy similar to what Twitter was going to do, and then yeah, it worked, right? HEXO's worth less than 200 million market cap, and they still didn't get acquired. So I think poison pill defense strategy succeeded, and maybe we'll never know, but no signs of the company going bankrupt anytime soon. Once this Tilray deal closes, they'll have enough money to stay afloat for multiple years, and they expect to be profitable from operations within the next 4 quarters. So, but yeah, they need to get that price up, and that's what I said. If SPY's due for a pretty big bounce here on the weekly, and we get CPG partner news revealed in the next couple of weeks, looks like MJ heavily beaten down could see a bounce as well. This could be a good few weeks, folks. They will need to dilute heavy. Yeah, well, I still think HEXO has raised the least amount of shareholder capital compared to Tilray and CGC. So they can't lose sight of that fact either, right? Everybody's always a critic with their own company and when they're down money, but the fact is this isn't new, right? And there's even companies in the US now that are starting to cut costs. It's so oversold, yep. Well, like I said, when we're extreme to the downside, it usually gets matched with an extreme move to the upside once we see it, but we need the whole sector to reverse, right? And it's likely going to take safe banking or a big company getting involved. Maybe, this new partnership with HEXO is going to ignite some interest, and then we could see more CPG partners follow, right? We know Monster Energy's looking into it. We know Mary Jones Soda from Jones Soda, they just announced they're getting into it. Pepsi trialed Rockstar Hemp CBD in Germany over a year ago, and we know Germany is due to recreational legalize this year, potentially speeding it up. So again, it's like all the writing's on the wall, right? Once a couple fall, the dominoes start to go, and it's game theory playing out. Cameron, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Thanks, Rod. Always a pleasure to listen. Super excited for the 14th. You bet. Thanks for joining. Always a pleasure having you on. Renee, thanks, Rod. Super as always. Oh, you're welcome. You're very welcome. Thanks for joining. Sean, awesome, Rod. Thanks for the info. Appreciate it. You're welcome. Anytime. Closing in on the hour mark, so going to wrap things up. Like I said, 2 days over 398 on SPY is great to see. And Bitcoin's still holding steady above 31,000. Don't forget about the giveaway on Saturday, May the 14th. Going to be doing a live stream. As a reminder, I'll schedule it, so you'll see 2 hours ahead of time that I'm going live. You'll get the 2 hour heads up, and then once I go live, it'll be about a 10-minute live stream. And then I will pick 2 random comments. So as long as you're on the live stream and you comment, I'll do 2 random comment pickers, and each will receive a full year membership to the Power Group community valued at $150 each. All right, wrap things up. Let's see how we closed on some of our MJ names. ACB closed green. Notable. What did Cron do? Over 12%. BFF closes at 336, down 12% on the day. Pretty nice lower wick there. So we could see a daily inside bar tomorrow just based on this huge 30% range, right? What's the dollar doing? It's the dollar still holding strong, coming up on 104. Like I said, that daily bull flag is on watch. And we could be heading to 106 before we see a meaningful pullback. Tim Bond, 154,400 shares of Hexo. Wow. The official whale. Official Hexo whale. I think that's the most shares of anybody I've ever heard of, except for maybe Adam RV. And now Tilray, once that deal closes. Well, technically, Tilray doesn't own any of Hexo until they convert the debt, which would equate to about 35% of the company. 154,000 shares, though. Wow, congrats. 81 cents CAD. Hoping for a turnaround. Thanks for all your bids, Rod. You are welcome. Thanks, Tim. Thanks for joining. Thanks for your comment. And wow. Just imagine if Hexo gets back to a few dollars. Goro thoughts. Goro? Is that a ticker? I thought you meant like Mortal Kombat there for a second. Goro. Gold Resource Corporation. So yeah, gold had a bit of a cup and handle forming, and could see a pretty big move. We know that we got the SDR rebalancing as well. Could see more gold reserves in that. I think that's the end of July. And take a look at the weekly time frame. We're set up for a potential weekly trend change. So I wouldn't want to be in this if we lost $1.50 support. That's crucial support. And then we have resistance up to 263 on the weekly, but we're forming a higher low compared to 150. So as long as we hold 150 and we break above 263, that's going to confirm a weekly uptrend, and then we're likely heading back up to somewhere around that $3 to $4 area. But nice setup here for a potential weekly trend change. If you're looking for an entry, I'd potentially enter now and maybe a little bit around 160, 175, 165. A little around 150, and then set a stop maybe just under 150, around 140. That's how I'd look to play it. But not a bad idea to start entering now, dollar cost averaging, or if you're just okay with entering now, risking essentially 16% to make upwards of 50 to 100%, right? If we confirm this weekly uptrend. And like I said, if SPY is due to bounce and the whole broader market, it could bode well for Goro. We're not looking good in the weekly time frame though. But we have pulled back quite a bit, over $1. So we could be due to head back towards that 10-week moving average. Resistance was support. Now it's likely going to act as resistance there at 217. We're back below all the weekly moving averages as well. So you have the 50 weekly there at 194. So watch that. Yeah, $2 is going to be extremely strong resistance. But we did have a golden cross. The 50-day crossing through the 200-day moving average. And that was back on the end of March. So yeah, I think this is a great opportunity to start getting into this one with a stop below 150. Don't know much about the ticker or the company. But yeah, if it's a gold miner into the gold market, then it should, like I said, should bode well over the next few weeks, in my opinion. And I think gold's likely going to have a breakout at some point. If we see some turmoil and some weakness in the dollar, and once crypto enters a bear market, I think a lot of the market cap from gold and money that was going to go into gold was put into Bitcoin, digital gold. And if digital gold, Bitcoin starts to enter a bear market, then we could see, I think that's when we could see a bit of an inverse correlation there with gold starting to claw back some of that market share. Hopefully that helps. Tim Bond, leave some for the poor. Molly, how you doing? If when the DXY goes up, more blood in the markets. Everything is oversold. I'm expecting at least a bounce. Yep. And like I said, watch that 106 bull flag target on DXY for a potential top. If we lose 102 though, that's our support. We would lose the daily uptrend, and that would likely mean that we're going to start weekly consolidation, see a pullback to around 100, I would think, on the dollar index. And then, like I said, if we break resistance here at the high of the bounce at 104.18, that means that the daily bounce continues, and then we look for that bull flag target continuation of 106, and then I think that's where we could potentially see a pretty hasty pullback. But taking a look at the weekly time frame, like we're right on that previous resistance as well. On the monthly time frame, we do have another resistance to be looking at 109, so 110 psychological as well. But that 406, I think we could hit it. After all this, we're still holding up on the dollar, but we know we're definitely due for a monthly pullback, right? Eventually, we're going to start a monthly consolidation, and that's going to be really good for stocks and crypto, and I think that could happen at some point where maybe next month into June, right? Maybe we start to pull back because, you know, look at the size of this range from the previous candle. For us to start daily consolidation, we'd have to drop over 4%. That's a lot on the Dixie, right? So what I could potentially see happening is that we maintain the strength. We've got 21 days left, though. We could see a pretty nasty pullback. But I just don't see that as the most likely scenario at the moment. We also have the Fed meeting in June, I believe, where they could potentially announce some monetary policy changes and rate increases. So, and we do have CPI numbers coming out this week. So if inflation comes in better than expected, that's something that could crash the dollar as well. So we'll be watching that. And if everybody's expecting, like everybody's expecting inflation numbers to get worse, so the fact that everybody's expecting it in a certain way, I think there's a good chance that we might even see positive results from the CPI numbers, and then that could be our catalyst to start the consolidation that we know is inevitable on the dollar. Q&A Enterprise, welcome. B&W, they dropped a bit after yesterday's earnings, but I'm bullish long term and for remainder of the year. Think if it held resistance around 529. B&W? Are you talking about BMW? Huh. B&W. They beat on res, but EPS came in lower. Okay. What's the ticker? I don't know. Not familiar with that. Not sure if you meant to type that in. Let me know. But we're still holding. Bitcoin's still holding key major monthly support. SPY 2 days in a row closing over monthly EMA 26. All right, gonna wrap it up, guys. Babcock and Wilcox. Oh, okay. Never heard of that one. Monthly downtrend confirmed, and EMA 26 brick wall. So we couldn't get over here, couldn't get over here, here, and then rejecting the monthly consolidation, monthly downtrend. So we had the high, low, lower high, lower low, monthly downtrend. No support really until $2.11. Weekly time frame, absolutely wrecked. Would have touched down pretty much on weekly oversold. No weekly support until 317. And watch how this weekly candle closes. If we close near the low of the week, we could see more downside. But good that the broader market's likely going to bounce at some point soon too. But wow, daily RSI was down in around the 22 area. But yeah, likely going to see a bounce tomorrow and a daily inside bar based on the size of this range. You're looking at like a 35% range, similar to VFF. Yeah, it should be 5 psychological should be good. But just keep in mind, and like I said, the fact that we pulled this back this much, we're heavily oversold. SPY likely due for a bounce soon as well. Yeah, it's entirely possible we could easily bounce just up to resistance here. First weekly resistance would be a 50% move. On the daily time frame, was it the same? Yeah, 50 some percent. little over 50%. Nice, decent volume, but not the highest volume we've seen. And we are below all the weekly moving averages as well. Must have had a death cross quite a while ago. Actually, no, we didn't. Got close, but didn't actually cross through. That's not something you see all the time. Wow. Wrecked. Well, obviously earnings, right? But surprised by 82% there, and revenue came in at a slight beat, so yeah, that's a little over-exaggerated. There must have been something else other than the sheer numbers. Luna getting wrecked again. It was so obvious it was going to happen. UST is a dead stable coin too, in my opinion. Not touching those with a 10-foot pole. Yeah, I never believed in... like, you got to remember, these coins, right, that they've run like hundreds of percent, they're just new this bull cycle, right? Like, they might not even be here next bear bull cycle, like bull market, right? And that's, look at all the coins that in the last bull market. Go look at the top coins, top 10, 20 coins in the last bull market. There's barely any in the top 10 and 20 this time, right? And it'll be the same time next time. In my opinion, actually, we're going to see over 90% of the altcoins fail because they're just not going to be able to make it through regulation. Crypto is about to go through the same phase as the internet, as per Mark Cuban, and I would have to agree. It's just going to be heavily regulated, and they're just not going to be able to keep up. But yeah, Terra Luna, not good for the sector, right? Again, we don't, just like MJ, just like we don't want to see any MJ names going down, we don't want to see this going down either. This isn't good, right? This is going to raise a lot of regulation concerns. We already know that they're going after stable coins in Congress and in the US and around the world, and this is just another example of why the regulators are likely going to target them. So that's not good in my opinion. And talk about losing its peg. People were like freaking out when it was at 98, and then it dropped 37% down to 61. No wonder Luna got wrecked. But look at that, in one day down 60 some percent, right? And this is why I say stay the heck away from these names that have gone up 44,000% in a year. Like, man, the risk was to the downside even if this didn't happen, right? That makes you wonder if, like, down 80%, and we're still up from the lows there, we're still up 8,000%, right? Even though we're down 80% from the all-time high, we're still up 8,000% from the low there. So, yeah, I was not interested in Luna. I'm still not interested in Luna. I'm sticking to my game plan. That's been my game plan for the last year. I'm buying XRP, XLM, Litecoin. What else Steel Litecoin was on that pullback to? Where did it get to? 73? Wow. Link, another, my fourth largest holding, got as low as $7. We were at 50 some dollars. I could easily see this thing at 100 or a couple $100. So from $7 up to a couple $100, you're looking at 20x, 10 to 20x. EOS, I got a little bag of that. And I've got some Songbirds, some Solo as a result of some XRP airdrops. But yeah, I got about 7 to 8 coins right now, I think. 7, I think I have 7. And yeah, I'm being very selective. I added XRP yesterday as well at 47 cents. Got as low as 47 cents, 47.1 cents. And if we drop to the next support on XRP is at 35 cents is our next weekly support. So if Bitcoin does lose 28K support, we can potentially see 35 cents on XRP. If you look back here, this weekly high or low, actually it's at 36 cents, my bad. 100% Luna and UST going dead next bear market. Yeah, I would think so. We don't need all these layer 1 techs and stuff, right? Like, XRP is the layer 1 that just works, always has, always will, right? Bitcoin's slow, clunky. It's the first. Yeah, do we still have the first cell phone that was ever created? No. Like, look at any tech that was created. Did the first win the test of time? No. Could it stand the test of time? Yeah, it absolutely could become the world digital gold. But there's other cryptos that are deflationary as well, just like Bitcoin that are greener, don't require mining and extensive energy. And yeah, it's slow, it's clunky. You know, they have the Lightning Network, which isn't scalable. It can only really support like a small city. So how's that going to support the whole world? And the world is just growing by population. We're also going to bring in another 2 billion or 3 billion people into the banking system that are underbanked or unbanked. Yeah, Bitcoin ain't going to cut it, right? And XRP, it's scalable, it's green, it's carbon neutral, it's adopted by the BS and the WEF. You know, it was created it's an American company. XRP was created before Ripple, the company. It's in Silicon Valley. Like, man, it just works. It's cheap, less than a penny a fee. It's never been down, right? Like, there's never been any network issues. Ethereum has network issues, high, exorbitant fees, and it's not even a real layer one. Like, the project doesn't work. They're coming out with ETH 2.0. I mean, security 2.0, security offering 2.0. And yeah, XRP's just worked. And the fact is the creators of Ethereum used to work at Ripple. They got the idea of Ethereum from Ripple. And then they went on to found Vitalik Buterin actually was an intern when he first started at Ripple. He was an intern. And then he got the smart contract idea from Ripple and went and stole it and did his own, right? And JP Morgan's an early investor into Ethereum, and Ethereum rewards the rich. If you hold more Ethereum, the more you have the power over the consensus of the network, but also you earn more in staking. So the rich get richer. So do you want to invest in Ethereum and help JP Morgan get richer? Because they invested before any of us, before Ethereum even had an ICO and the public could buy it. It's already proven that JP Morgan invested into it. So Ethereum, in my opinion, is the true banker's coin. Vincent, hey Rod, I got scammed into buying a stock on WhatsApp group, recommended to buy ACAN stock. They told me to buy. Yeah, you got to be careful with that, right? Don't buy anything because they tell you to buy. You gotta believe in it. You got to do your own research. And again, this is why, you know, being in a trustworthy community is important as well, right? And those free communities like Facebook groups, all that stuff, right? It's all free, right? And people have. That's why I like. I didn't just necessarily make my community cost money just because I wanted to. It's because it filters out all of the garbage stuff, right? I used to make I had my community free, and then we just had trolls and everything, and I was like, okay, no, people are a lot more serious when they pay $5, right? Started off at $5 a month, now it's $10 a month. It's going to be going up to $15 a month here soon for the community, but right now it's at $10, and you know, if you can't afford $10, then, you know, maybe there's something bigger going on. But again, it's just the reason why I did that is because I want to be rewarded for my time, and I do live streams in there. I do ticker requests all day long, 24/7 support, 365, right? So, you know, I'm obviously not going to spend all my time, every waking moment in there for nothing. You know, at first it started out as free, but it also filters out all those, and a lot of them are spam, right? A lot of it's just like, you'd be surprised by some of the actual, like the AI right now is so good at making it look like there's actual discourse and dialogue going on in a sensible conversation. And you got to be careful, right? Look at how many people invested in SafeMoon, the crypto. And I said, I can't even find a chart on it. I would not put very much into that. And if you do, don't invest any more than you're willing to lose. And then it was just a couple of weeks or months ago, it was found out that the creator was basically a scam, and he sold and dumped it all and then ran off. So you got to be careful. And now's the time not to be clicking on, if anybody's telling you they're going to give you crypto, you send them 1 Bitcoin, you get 2 Bitcoin back or whatever. Just question everything. Don't click on any emails. Don't, even in your ledger now, in your Nano Ledger, your hardware wallet, they're sending me little bits of 0.00001 XLM. And what they're doing is say, if you click on it and then you go to the Block Explorer, it says it's a free airdrop. Claim your free airdrop, and it just wants you to give them your private keys and your information. And like, it's crazy the amount of scams going on out there. So, and especially this late in the game, don't buy new projects, right? Now's the time to be getting rid of the crap coins, right? Not buying new projects and stuff like that. Like, go back to the blue chip layer ones that are in the top 10, like XRP, XLM, who haven't broken their all-time highs. is my opinion, like in my recommendation. Again, not telling you to buy, sell, or hold, but these utility coins are gonna completely like weather the storm, right? These coins that do absolutely nothing and they're new, right? We don't need 20,000 cryptocurrencies. But yeah, you can easily just get scammed into crypto as a stock, right? Stocks are, yeah. Stocks are risky too. ACAN. Ugh. Yeah, sorry to hear about that. MJ doesn't look too bad now, does it? 2 days down over about 90%. Wow. Yep. Never want to hear people complain about MJ ever again. After this and this. Shopify. 6 months. Went from 1762 to 318 and lost over about 82% of its value. This is why I caution people. This is why I said have a plan, take a short position, keep some cash. But sorry to hear about that. But it's all about learning, right? Molly, XRP, EOS, Link, ETH, BTC, XLM. Nice. Yeah, I was all out of ETH and BTC about like this time last year. Sold all of it, and then I went heavy into XLM, XRP, Link, Litecoin, EOS. I've got some Sologenic, Songbird. Like I said, as a result of XRP fork and airdrop. Why would people do something like this? Because there's a lot of terrible people out there, and they're pump and dumping, right? They want you to sell. Like look at that crypto, that SafeMoon person who created it promised everybody the world and wasn't even a functional project, and he took all the money and ran. You got a great bag. Yep. Yeah, don't listen to me. Do your own research, right? Don't listen to me. Don't listen to anybody else. Listen to a few different sources, and then take your own conclusion and make your own conclusion, right? You can't buy something just because somebody else told you to buy it. We gotta take responsibility and accountability for our actions too, right? We have to. No one hits the buy or sell button but us, and yeah, there's tons of I'm on live all the time. I'm in the Power Group community all the time helping people. So it's easy to just get some opinions from somebody, right? Unbiased opinion, especially if you're putting your hard-earned money into that, and the economy is likely going to be entering a recession, and there's going to be some tough times ahead. So, that's money that you worked hard for. So don't let these scammers and these people who are trying to fish emails and all that stuff take advantage of your hard-earned money. You're going to need that hard-earned money, in my opinion. Well, maybe you don't. Maybe you're retired or you're so wealthy you don't know what to do with all the money you have. But I think for the most part, the common theme is going to be very, very high struggles over the next couple of years because of inflation running rampant. They're going to probably print more money. There's going to be jobs. Businesses are going to be losing jobs because not a lot of people are spending money. They're going to be saving money because we're going into a recession, which means 2 back-to-back quarters of negative growth. So again, we're likely due for a major bear market and pain in the economy, specifically in the U.S., right? But the whole world's been printing money endlessly, right? Money printer go burr, and it doesn't look like there's any end in sight. They're making money off your back, simple as that. Welcome to the stock market and crypto, yep. It's just like anything, right? There's scams about everything. There's people calling my phone all the time. They're everywhere. There's good and bad people everywhere, right? That's why you need to protect yourself. If you're in crypto, have a hardware wallet. Have multiple backups of your seed phrase and your backup phrase. Have one in a safety box at the bank. I actually believe in them because they were right before. Yeah, and that's the thing too, right? They have a couple good calls, and then that's what they do is they make you believe that they have a couple good calls, or they make it look like they called it, and then the one time where you enter is where they actually plan the scam. Oh, it is an MJ stock. Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah, again, I would never want to buy a low cap name right now. Like when CGC's at $5, Tilray's at $4, True Leaves down in the teens. You got Cresco at $5. You got MSOS at $13. When all the major ones are like that are down, I wouldn't be paying to any micro caps or small caps or even medium caps. So all my money is going into the large caps, because if we're beaten down this much on the large caps, and it's going to take a sector-wide catalyst to reverse us, what's going to happen when the sector reverses? The large caps are going to go crazy, right? Because those are the ones that have long-term shareholder value and the market share, right? So once fundamentals start to matter again, the large caps are going to absolutely explode. So yeah, just be careful. Like I said, MJ is very similar to crypto, right? It's very new, and a lot of the smaller companies are going to go bankrupt, right? There's too many. There's like 776 producers in Canada. That's just too many, right? There's going to be a lot of that are going to go bankrupt, and a lot of them that are going to get bought out too, or whatever. Some of them might merge, but a lot of them are probably just going to dwindle away. And same with cryptos. Probably 90% of all coins are going to fail and go to nothing, right? Because we don't need 20,000 cryptocurrencies. We need a few. Like, we need quite a few. Like, we need probably like a dozen or a handful or half a dozen or whatever. You know, there might be like 4 or 5 main chains, right, in crypto that are gonna be the main chains, right? But yeah, just be super careful. And I see we still have quite a few people joined on the stream here after almost an hour and a half. Gonna wrap it up though. All right, yeah, so just be careful, everybody. Like I said, the market is likely due for a bounce, but now's the time where, you know, we need to develop a plan, and we need to be very selective with our longs, in my opinion. Actually, looks like we closed at 399, but down to 308 here after hours. Pulling back a little bit here on crypto, but no major red flags. All right, going to end it there. Might see you guys a little bit later on for another video. We'll see. If not, we shall see you tomorrow. Thanks again for joining us on The Pursuit of Wealth. If you could smash the like on the way out, help support me in the channel. Subscribe if you're new here. Tick the bell, you'll be notified when I go live next. Have a great night, everyone.